are they actually prepared enough to go out into the world to be a dog trainer? So does that come back to like how much hands-on experience have they had? How much practicing as a dog trainer with the confidence behind them do they feel? And then there's the other element which we like to dig into, which is what are the communities like that people are hanging out in, and it's that fear of judgment from other trainers? Or is it the business side is lacking so that they don't actually have any confidence in that part? And so for us, we spend a lot of time with the people that work with us to try and figure out where that imposter syndrome comes from. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes we're all about kind of working together in this industry and building collaborations and going like, how can we do things better for that end user, which is the new dog trainer coming into the world? So like, how can we, I mean, first of all, what are your views on that imposter syndrome, and how do you see it manifest? And then what more do you think we could be doing as you as the CPD provider, us as the business support, like working together to try and alleviate that imposter syndrome a little bit?
Yeah, lots of different things on that. So it's all very personal, isn't it? I mean, you mentioned yourself, Vicky, there's lots of drivers. You could be quite far in your career, and that kind of Dunning-Kruger thing of the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know about different things. And that's a matter of kind of being aware of that and taking a step back and thinking, actually, I do know quite a lot, and I'm just being a bit hard on myself on this. I think on the business side, so within our course, we have a few modules that talk about business. As you'd expect for someone like me, who's a kind of sustainable business person, there's an angle, slightly different angle to that you might get on other courses where I'm talking about different facets of business, and we can kind of talk about some of those. But it's very much, we try and talk to people about the things they need to be aware of. You know, here's some of the legislation that you need to be aware of when you run a business, depending on what type of business you run. I run the business modules with a kind of little handbook and a checklist that people can fill in. And it's very much a think about what you would like to do. And there's different ways of running a business, or maybe not even running a business. You might kind of think, you know, I don't like the mechanics of it to the extent that actually I'd be better off working for a charity or not running a business. And all of those things are perfectly valid approaches to take. You know, you might want to do a partnership and team up with someone because that takes some of the burden off. And also I think the key bit for me is people understanding that where they are now might not be where they are in future. And sometimes you need to kind of look at this and go, actually, I set up a business which focuses on agility, and I loved it then. And actually, I prefer doing this, and I've named my business, you know, Jay's Agility Business. And at some point, you just need to go, actually, that doesn't really sit where I am now, so I need to kind of reset it and maybe set my business up with a new brand and thing. And we have members do that all the time, where they contact us to update their details, and they've reflected on where they're at. And I think we try and help them understand the different elements they need to know and where to get advice. And we have like discounts and things, and different organizations, people can get additional support. But also try and give them the confidence that they can reach out to the community and say, you know, what do people think of this? And people do that. They put their new websites and stuff up, and people try and support them, but also have the confidence to change direction. And, you know, that kind of sunk cost fallacy where people kind of get stuck in a thing and they think, actually, I can't, I need to stay on that course because people know me for this, whereas they actually prefer different things. So part of how we do that is I always talk about the exit at the beginning. And I think sometimes people think that's a bit kind of negative. But I will always encourage people to, if they've come up with an idea, to right at the start think how that can end. And if you put it from a kind of training analogy, it's a bit like, you know, how people are when they feel a bit backed into the corner. They haven't got an eye on where the door is. There's all sorts of psychology is about people sitting nearer the door so they feel more comfortable even in difficult meetings and things. And I always encourage people right at the beginning, and we do it in our kind of business courses, what does the exit look like? How would you leave this business or this organization so that you can feel comfortable with what you're doing, knowing that that route is available to you if you ever need it. So there's quite a few different kind of ways we go about doing it. It's very personal. Sometimes it depends how you wake up in the morning. If you feel a bit imposter syndrome-y, I think everyone kind of does it. It's reaching out and feeling like you can is probably the first thing.